everybody, I'm Maleikin, and today we're going to discuss making a recording of your song. And knowing that we were going to do this today, I put on 2 different color socks, which you've already seen, not because I don't have 2 white socks or 2 black socks, because it mixes it up a little bit, not only physically but mentally as well, and it's always good to do little exercises before you start to write or do anything creative. All right, that said, let's get on with it. Making a recording, making a great recording is essential in today's marketplace. Nobody wants demos anymore. So you can't just sit there with your guitar and record something 3 minutes later. Wow, I'm going to put it on YouTube. You need a full sounding master that sounds like the radio. And when I say radio, I mean all media. You say to yourself, well, gosh, that's expensive. Well, you know what? Being in the music business is expensive. The returns can be phenomenal, but you have to put up the money up front in order to get anywhere. So, okay, you've got some great songs and you're looking for a studio. You don't live in LA or Nashville, Atlanta, or New York, and you're looking for a good studio. What do? Well, of course, these days everybody looks at things online, and there are lots of people who pay lots of money to be first on the list. They're not necessarily first in terms of quality. I did some research over the last few days and contacted a lot of those studios. None of them really have any prices, so you have to call or email and then back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And rather than do that, I said simply, I have some songs. I'd like to record them. I don't want demos, I want masters. And I'd like to talk to you before sending you any money. Here's my number. Well, we'll get back to you in 48 hours or whatever it is. And I don't find that to be particularly endearing, because I'm sitting here already. I've been waiting for months, for years to record my songs. I want instant answers. So that could be a red flag. I'll get back to you in 48 hours. You want somebody who's going to answer the phone now. Or if the guy's in a session, then when the session's over, he or she can call you back. It's also important to ask upfront what the costs are going to be. Never go into any business arrangement with an open check, with a blank check. Well, we can do it for $200 with this, and we can do it for $500 with that. We can do it for $1,000 with this. Well, find out, A, if the guy's going to use live musicians or whether he's going to use Pro Tools. Find out where the session is, who the players are, and most important, who the singer is. And you want to hear samples of that singer's vocals in your genre before you agree to hiring anybody. Okay, that's really important. Remember, it's your session, it's not his. He ideally should listen to your input and make sure that your voice is heard, because you wrote the song, it came from you, came from your heart, your experience, and your imagination. And all of those things are important in getting the best recording possible. Don't be afraid. Don't give your power away. Don't tell them, I've never done this before. I have no idea what I'm doing. There are people who will take terrible advantage of that. So be part of the recording process, okay? Do it. When you're talking about prices, get it in writing. Well, he told me on the phone and all of that. Please, could you put that in writing and send me a quick email? Thank you very much. It's important to have all these business things out of the way before you ever start the creative process of making a recording. Because once you're in the middle, you can't renegotiate. You promise to pay them this and such and so on. And any good business person always knows what it's going to cost before entering into any agreements, like buying a house. Well, you said the price was $2 million. Well, yeah, but if you want the garage, you have to add another $500,000. And, oh, did you want lawn? Oh, pipes. Well, we never talked about pipes. See what I mean? It sounds ridiculous, but it's really important to have all the business details taken care of and everything in writing. Email back and forth, and keep everything in a really safe file. Not on your phone, in a safe file. Now, another issue. Most people don't live in music cities. And most people are tempted to just go to whatever local studio there is that might do local jingles for radio stations. I would advise you against that. They're not used to recording for the marketplace, and yes, it's convenient, but no, you will not probably get anything that you can use. Very important. One more thing you should discuss right up front is, what is your genre? Are you a country writer, a hip-hop writer? Are you a rapper? Are you indie? What are you? And who is your potential audience? Are you writing for yourself? Are you writing for an artist or a band? Then you need to tell the producer, I want it to sound exactly like Lady Antebellum. I don't want to mimic their vocals. I record my songs one at a time, and I'm always there for the vocal. And I make sure that the singer can take direction. I send the song ahead of time so he or she can learn the song and know it before the studio. I go over the key ways first thing. Is this the best key for you? Here's the high note, here's the low note. Play it all the way through. Have that person have a version of the song with me singing it, which is really a treat for most people. And then they can find the best key. And I work with my producer on this. So you got the best singer and the best key, and you can kind of get a little idea over the phone if this is in fact the best singer or just the singer. If it sounds okay, it's never going to sound any better. So hold out for the best singer. I feel it's really important for you to be in the studio while your tracks are being cut and while the vocals being done. And just in terms of economics, if you choose a studio in LA, you'll have LA hotel bills. And if you do it in New York, you'll have New York hotel bills. Therefore, I would suggest you look to Atlanta or Miami or Nashville. The best players in the world are in Nashville, so you can't go wrong. But don't hire a studio just because it's in Nashville or claims to be on Music Row. Do your due diligence, as I suggested earlier, okay? I really want this to work for you. Okay, so you're in the studio, and everybody arrives. Hi, everybody's on time. Great, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate your bringing your artistry to my recording session. Make them feel good. They're probably not getting paid very much for being there, and they probably have another gig or two before the end of the day and make them feel really special, because the truth is, without them, you wouldn't have anything. They're not interchangeable, all right? So before you start, it's important to know that you have a release that you write up and have all the musicians and the producer and every studio, everybody sign, the singer especially, saying you own the master, and they will not be paid anything additional when you use this track for all purposes known now and in the future. Really important to get that piece of paper signed, okay? Well, we'll do it later. No, we won't do it later, because later they'll be gone and suddenly they'll have second thoughts. Maybe it'll turn out great and they'll demand more money. So be smart. Get everything in writing up front, okay? Really important. With a singer, there are some concerns, because sometimes singers who are members of the musicians' unions don't want people to know they're making recordings outside of a union scale situation. So what I do with them is pay them for the session and then tell them if I ever get any more money for the master, whether I sell it to a major label or whether I get a nice license fee for the song being in a movie or a TV show, then we'll bump them up to union scale for that particular use. Okay? So all of this sounds really complicated, but you know what? Take time and learn it and do it so there are no problems later. I get emails from songwriters who are fabulous songwriters, and they've got stories about, well, I was writing with this guy and and we went in the studio and then he ran off and da-da-da, and I'm left with masters and they're da-da-do, and I don't really own anything, and I don't know where the other guy is, and I'd love to use my melody with something else. Well, you can't. Get it all in writing. So your contract not only should be with the people in the studio, but also your co-writers. And it should say a couple of things. First, both of you are contributing equally to this song. You also want to include that if for some reason it doesn't work out and you're unhappy with the results, that each of you has the right to take back your portion of the song and use it in another context without including him. Very, very important. And also, tell the recording studio that you own the master, they don't, and that while they may keep the digital files in the studio, you own them. Okay? You own them. And when you finish the session, let's say everything went great, get an unmixed copy of the digital file, so in case down the road you want to change something or add something or take something out, you'll have the files, and if you don't want to go back to that studio, somebody else will have them. Okay? So you own it, you take responsibility, you're the business person when you're in the studio as well as the creative one. And you really got to work your way up to that. One of the reasons I put on one white sock and one black sock this morning is because I wanted to be as creative as possible when discussing all of this with you. I'm very good at switching gears from being the songwriter to the business person. But if you catch me on a songwriting day, I may not have 100% of Molly available. So it's important to draw the line and know where you are and who you need to be when you're in a recording session. Okay? John, my director, just reminded me of something, and that is, yes, you're going into the studio to record your vocal, so you will have a recording with vocal. In addition to recording the vocal, you need what we call a TV track. So there's no vocal in terms of lead vocal, but all the background singing and the full track is there. So if, with any luck, you are on a TV show and want to perform the song on the show, you don't have to have their band do it. You bring your own track and you sing to the track. An additional thing you should ask for is an instrumental version of your song, because there's lots of money to be made by putting your tracks without the vocals in music libraries. So you want all three of those things in your agreement, in your signed agreement with the studio. Okay? For the instrumental, it's fun to be creative. I've often had a harmonica play the melody in the instrumental. I've had a saxophone, keyboard. I've had people banging on the table. And it's really fun to just play with it. And it could be that the instrumental sounds completely different from the vocal and might even be in a different genre, but that's okay. Cover your bases, be sure you have an instrumental. One essential, everything's essential, but one more essential thing is be careful not to love it just because it's loud. Big speakers screaming, the walls are shaking, the windows are breaking. It's your song, oh my God. And maybe you've never even heard one of your songs before, sung by somebody other than you in the shower. Back in the day when I was starting out, I worked with a producer who owned Larrabee Sound in LA. And he had the very best equipment, the very best engineers, the very best of the very best. And he'd be in there for days mixing. And I sat there with him. And when he did the mix, he didn't play that back. What he did was he mixed it down to mono. And he played it on crummy little speakers in my car. And he said, if it sounds good on those crummy little speakers, it's going to sound great with the full sound. So you do that too. And loud is proud, but the facts are in the wax. So really, really pay attention to everything. If there's a little hole here, if there's a wrong note there, don't be afraid to speak up. And here's a good way to do it. Instead of saying, oh God, you ruined my whole track, the note's wrong, oh God, what am I going to do? Simply say, hey, that sounds great. Just there in bar 17, I was wondering if maybe you could do thus and such, and let's see how that sounds. Can we try that? Okay. And I know it's important for everybody to take the mix home. And you want it finished right then and there. You want to show it to your mother. You want to show it to your boyfriend. You want to put it up on YouTube instantly. But you know what? Take the mix home with you. Listen to it. Have a dozen people listen to it. And make sure that the strings are not too loud and the guitar is not too soft, and live with it for a day or two. And then you can okay the final mix or make any other changes. And by the way, in order to do that, you need all that as part of your agreement in writing with your producer. During the session, when you stop to listen back, before they start recording again, it's really nice for you to get on the mic and say, hey guys, it's really sounding good. Thank you so much. Let's keep going. I love it. I love it. And that goes a long way because it gives them confidence. And if they want to be a little creative here and there, it really helps them get there. Okay. When the session is over, of course, you're going to thank everybody for coming. And as they're packing up, get everybody's email address, phone number, and snail mail address. And the next day, I want you to send each of them a personal note. Not an Instagram, not an email, not a text. A personal note. Remember, there actually are still stationery stores where you go buy nice paper and a good pen and send it right away. So these musicians are going to say, my God, what a nice person that is. Because the next time you do a recording and want to have them back, they're going to come bursting with, yeah, let's go. I want to do my best for Molly. And they will, too. I really hope that you enjoyed the talk I just gave. And I want you to know that that's all well and good. It's important to have that information. But it's also important to have the very best songs possible before you move forward with anything. And I'm available to you as a consultant, and I would urge you to send me your material in the simplest form possible so that I can make sure that before you go any further, your good songs are hit songs. And I can help you turn a good song into a hit song, sometimes with just a little tweak here and there. Go up into the chorus, say this word instead of another one, take this line out, move this one up. I make a phenomenal difference for good in the lives of my clients, and I'd be happy to help you too. I have some learning tools that are fantastic and that I'm happy to offer you. The first is my book called How to Be a Hit Songwriter. It covers everything we've discussed this morning, as well as lots of other things, the secrets of hit songwriting. And then I have another book, How to Write a Hit Song, which is in its 5th edition and is also fantastic. And to go with them, I produce Maleikin's Master Class in Songwriting, which is a compilation of all the very best classes that I taught at UCLA. And with the books, this comprises a complete home study hit songwriting course. Thank you again. Write well, see you on the charts, and be sure to let me know if I can help you with your songs in terms of a consultation for marketing and evaluation. You can reach me at my website, songmd@songmd.com, but please don't send me any unsolicited material because it'll be automatically deleted. Those of you in North America, that's Canada, US, and Mexico, you can call my 800 number, 800-851-6588, and try to reach me between 8:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, okay? You know you're good. You know you've got something special. You have a gift that you want to share with the world. I'm with you. I'm here for you. When you're ready to move forward and make your dreams come true, here I am.